Hello there. The King has opened a new wing at the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, which has existed here for 40 years. Yes, the defender of the Protestant faith and head of the Church of England has done all he can to celebrate and support the expansion of Islam in the UK. That is exactly what that amounts to. All the while, in Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, and Yemen, for example, official Christian churches are not allowed, let alone an expanding Christian study outfit. King Charles's job should be to do what Islam continually strives to do, and what Catholicism is still doing after a fashion, and that is take Protestant Christianity out into the world. The BBC World Service should be pushing it for a start. And anyone who says, "Who cares?" needs to do a bit of hard studying about fundamentalism. Right now, we have conflict increasing in the country because we have lost our faith, or more accurately, have had it driven out of our institutions, and another religion has stepped smartly into the vacuum created by that, bringing fundamentalism with it, because we have no real mechanism to combat it, apart from tolerance and barked orders of shut up for the sake of diversity, of course. And that religion has established uniparty support for doing so from top down. Be in no doubt the establishment does not support secularism nor atheism. It supports religion, all right. And it has now chosen the faith it thinks will be the new faith in the UK. And His Majesty is right there in the middle of it. What do you reckon, Richard?
Yes, Jeff. Just really thinking about the whole thing, the sequence of events. Yes, July 17th, Charles visits Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, praised it as a bridge of understanding between Islam and the West. He'd previously hosted Ramadan iftar at Windsor Castle, first time ever by a monarch, incidentally. Mentioned Islam and other faiths during his Easter message, which incidentally I found to be incredibly concerning. I don't know if you've actually heard that Easter message there, Jeff, but there's one part in it where it goes, let me just get this absolutely correct, yeah. When speaking of Christ, he says, the love he shared when he walked the earth reflected the Jewish ethic of caring for the stranger and those in need, a deep human instinct echoed in Islam and other religions and religious traditions, and in the hearts of all those who seek the good of others. Why did he have to mention Islam? Or, I have to say, the Jewish ethic, but we are talking about a Judeo-Christian. Christianity is effectively an extension of Judaism with a lot more additions. However, the point here is why he couldn't help himself. He had to go straight in there and mention it. I find it very, very disconcerting, to be honest with you. He swore an oath before God, practically, I suppose, to be defender of the faith, although I think that wording was slightly changed. However, he is legitimized by the Church of England. He was crowned in Westminster Abbey with the Bible placed in his hands, called the most valuable thing that this world affords.
Can I just show? I'll just show people the vid.
Yeah. Oh yes, absolutely.
When he, yeah.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Hello. Yes. All right. Yes, whoever you are. Yes, hello. Oh yes, I remember you.
Oh, William Hague. William Hague. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, here he comes.
The center was founded to promote the study of Islam and the Muslim world, to foster cooperation and friendship. Assalamu alaikum.
In this milestone anniversary year, I can only say that it is with enormous pride and admiration that I join you all here today to pay tribute to this remarkable centre as it celebrates 4 decades of unfailing work to broaden our understanding of the Islamic world and in the United Kingdom.
Who are you?
Well, I think we've
No, keep going,
seen
Jeff.
enough of that, haven't you?
Oh, I was enjoying that there. Because it actually goes up to the children then. Do you know what he asks them? I've got it right
No,
here,
go on.
actually. It's from... Oh, good grief. Let me just make sure I've got the right one up here, mate.
Yeah.
He asked them if they'd read Harry Potter. Yeah, some of them... the teacher says, some of these children here, they go to the mosque, but why? He just goes up there and asks if they read Harry Potter. They're opening an Islamic centre. I'm sure most of them, if he has his way, will be reading the Quran within the next few weeks. So, yeah. But straight up the kids asking if they read Harry Potter. Unbelievable. What a fantastically inspired and appropriate king. Jeff?
Yes. The other thing, of course, that coming up is while we're talking about this, of course, we're not criticising Islam at all, are we? Because of the new laws that are going to be coming in very shortly to make sure we don't criticise Islam at all in any shape or form. Blasphemy
Absolutely,
laws coming in via the back door from this Labour government, all driven by, I would say, from the top down, because it's all about inclusivity. And by inclusivity, we mean blind obedience and do not even criticise anything of the others. We can be criticised totally and utterly, can't we? But,
absolutely.
Certain faith can't be. As far as I can see, this is not about understanding here. It's an expansion and replacement. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, he's the defender of the faith. And as I said, he's celebrating the expansion of Islam into the UK. And right now, the Israelis are fighting for their very survival against fundamentalism. And we have Christians and Druze, that's D-R-U-Z-E, by the way, suffering at the hands of Islamists in Syria. And despite the Druze initially actually being an offshoot of Islam that then took on aspects of Christianity and a certain other faiths to form its own religion, but the Israelis are fighting with them against hardline Islamism because the Druze actually support Israel within Israel and part of their armed forces, part of the IDF. So, yeah, I find it most amazing that we're in this position where we're just throwing the doors open.
You can see his priorities, though, Jeff. This is a man who would walk into a Bible college and tell them to understand Islam a bit more, and that's what he would do. Would he go into a mosque, though, and say we need to understand Christianity a bit more? I don't think so. I mean, this is the situation we got. He didn't mention Christian teachings in a mosque or at any point during the Islamic celebrations, like, and feasts and fasts. He wouldn't do that, but he will do it about... He will mention Islam at Easter, and I just find it unbelievable, Jeff. The monarchy was a Christian institution. Now it's a mascot for diversity, I think, or maybe even turning into a mascot for Islam, because he does seem to be adding preferential airtime, we shall say, towards Islam. This is not a criticism of Islam. I'm just pointing out the way things are going with our Majesty the King, who's legitimized by Christianity. But that doesn't matter. No. I'm sure they'll put something together now where he's legitimized by Islam, by the way it's going. Yeah.
Now, thank you very much, Nomad, for your contribution. Dear Jeff, please also report on UK helping South African government in building infrastructure. South Africa is cleansing ethnic minorities with more race-based laws than apartheid time, and the mainstream media is silent. Yeah, I read about South Africa, and you just look at it, and and the mainstream, it just doesn't fit their narrative, does it? It just doesn't fit their narrative. White bad, everyone else good. Just doesn't fit their narrative. So they won't report on it. They won't mention it. And in fact, they'll feed it. they'll make it worse. They'll just feed it, because that feeds their narrative. Being bad towards whites is basically good as far as they're concerned. So yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Jeff,
Thanks very much for that.
this is the situation. Charles's public favor, apparent public favor towards Islam, sends the nation a signal, and that is that our Christian roots no longer matter, and that our Christian faith is basically, it's okay for it to deteriorate, and we should walk. Maybe he's meant to be like the guide for the nation, the paternal figure of the nation, like the Queen was the maternal figure of the nation.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should be following him. Is that what you're saying towards a new faith? That does seem to be the direction of travel. Maybe this is not necessarily about him becoming a Muslim. There's been speculation that he converted many years ago, and that may be true. It may not be. It's just speculation, of course. But what is the most worrying part is he's reducing Christianity to a sideshow. That's what he's doing. He's diminishing the core principles, effectively, of this nation. You can't be a defender of the faith, and you cannot defend the Christian faith or this country whilst you bow down to the faith of somewhere else. You cannot do it. It cannot be done. I'm sorry, we are witnessing, I'm afraid, a transition into apostasy. That's what it appears to be.
Yeah. I've got to go to the imperialist. Funny you say nothing on the Jews, who are the real invaders. Well, I'll just tell you something, just a couple of facts. In 2021, there were approximately 3.9 million Muslims in the UK. All right. And according to in 2021, 287,360 Jews were in the UK. That's not an invasion. And at the moment, more Jews are probably leaving right now because of the hostile environment being generated by the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinians. So no, there isn't an invasion from them. I don't believe it one bit. Otherwise, the boats would be full of them, wouldn't they? But they're not. Anyway,
there's an article in the Telegraph about this, actually. The Jewish teachers report increasing instances of swastika, graffiti, and chants of Free Palestine and F the Jews. And that's in the Telegraph. That is from a day or two ago. It's pretty awful. One Jewish teacher said on multiple occasions, students have shouted Free Palestine at me. So there's no respect within the classroom towards Jewish teachers.
No.
I mean, many of you are, I know that there's a lot of people who watch this who will be anti-Semitic. I'm sorry, I can never, ever bow down to anti-Semitism myself. I came from a generation who saw what happened in the concentration camps in terms of through our schooling. The children today probably get a very different version of that. And we were told, never again. Never again.
Yeah.
And what's happening in Gaza? There's a brilliant interview on Liam Tufts' channel, incidentally, with an Iranian chap, me being half Iranian. I can comment on these things, and I can tell you most Iranians I know are completely supporting Israel. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You know the situation. The Iranian taxes, these people have had their taxes to go and pay for the support of the, Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis. It's absolutely abhorrent the way that the Jews are treated at the moment in this country and across the world. And coming from other countries, people don't realize in the Middle East there's a very different perspective on what's going on in the Israeli-Arab conflict. It's not even Arab conflict. There isn't an Israeli-Arab conflict. That's the point. Jordan was helping Israel when the missiles were flying across from Iran. This is basically a proxy war that is taking place and a hot war directly between Iran and Israel.
Yeah.
A lot of people just don't get it.
Some Moonlight Sonata, like a few others, has pointed out that King Charles has received a few suitcases full of cash and carrier bags. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
From certain quarters.
I believe he literally was bringing a cash back with him from somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a lot of people are sort of saying this sort of thing.
You can take a look. Go on, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. What I was going to do is I did a bit of research, and according to a website called opendoors.org, Christians face extreme levels of persecution in countries like India, Pakistan, Myanmar, Afghanistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Libya, Sudan, Eritrea, Somalia, and Nigeria. And more than 380 million Christians suffer high levels of persecution and discrimination for their faith. It also says on the website, but our so-called that's what it also says on the website. But this whole thing that it's not Christians that get persecuted is wrong. It's a hugely persecuted religion. But our so-called intelligentsia is obsessed over just one subject, Gaza, so that they can hound the Jews, basically, and then import as many people from a certain demographic into the UK as they can, without somehow, it seems, including the persecuted Christians. According to our woke left, whites and Christians of whatever ethnicity, it seems, cannot, by definition, be persecuted. And funny old thing, as far as I can make out, no religious data is held on those coming into the country. I did have a look to see whether there was any data, but it seemed to be very sparse. Presumably because we're not fundamentalist, then no one else can be fundamentalist either. Yeah.
Strange. It's like with the Ukraine war and the refugees we took in from Ukraine. There just seemed to be an incredible level of integration. I attended a church myself where there was that had boosted its numbers by Ukrainians coming into the area, and there was no issue. And what was interesting is I went to an Orthodox church, and there was a lot of Russian and Ukrainians there. Okay, now you think, oh, that would have been a hotbed for something kicking off. No. They all unified under Christ. That was the beauty of them going to the Orthodox Church. They were unified. Like this country once was. It used to be unified under Christ. And it's almost as if the king has forgotten that. The thing which unified this country was its Christian belief. You take that away, what are we left with? Well, we are seeing what we are left with.
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to forget that it was Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, that crowned King Charles III. And it's a 1,000-year-old ceremony. God crowning the king through the religious head of the church. Joining a religion to the state was the idea, to make it more cohesive. But that's all now been forgotten. You only have to see the C of E sucking up to other religions to see that. It's all now just mere pomp and ceremony with no real religious belief backing it up, as far as I can see. Just C of E box ticking. In my eyes, that brings this coronation into very serious doubt.
Jeff, where was the church where has the church been whilst the king has been saying all these things? You know, the archbishop, the last one anyway, has been silent. Have we got an archbishop at the moment? I don't even know if we have a proper one at the moment.
I don't know. Does it matter now? Does it matter?
It doesn't. You're absolutely correct. You know, bishops themselves are remaining silent. There's no rebuke, no concern. There's no outrage.
Well, they're just woke. They're just woke.
Oh,
There were social services. Oh, we've got to wave this flag, that flag, not the British flag, anything but that, and support everybody else around the planet because we have to be seen to be good.
Well, it's institutional cowardice is what we have in our country. And it's cowardice by the masses as well when it comes to speaking out. More people need to speak out about what the king is doing and say, please, your majesty, return to the faith which legitimizes you and your family. If not, tutty bye. Let us have another king, somebody who will follow God and defend the faith. I mean, if the king actually, I think the church right now, if the king actually actively promoted Christianity, they'd say that he wasn't being inclusive enough. I think the Church of England would do that right now.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
They would. In fact, I'm surprised that we don't have inside the Sunday services in major cathedrals now. We don't have the imam standing up and giving the service these days. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael Gammon. Why is your king's eyes almost touching in the middle?
There's a
Not
good
really
reason.
sure I've noticed, but
There's a good reason, yes. There's a very good reason. And that is if you actually work it out. I watched a very fascinating documentary on this and program on it. He is apparently one of the most inbred. He's highly, highly inbred when you actually work
all
it
right.
out through. Yeah, oh, there's a
That's
lot of inbreeding
something
going on there.
that Michael Gammon goes on to say. Thank you very much.
Ah, yes, yes. Thank you, Michael. Yes, spot on. Absolutely.
Yeah. Get the Jewish flags out. I hope you mean get them out and wave them. Definitely.
Well, I
Now,
think
let's
yes. I mean, the flags that should be flown in this country are, when you think about it, you've got the cross of St. George. You've got the English flag. You've got the Scottish flag, and fly our own flags. And to be honest with you, I wish the Welsh would fly the cross of St. David instead of having the dragon, the Welsh dragon. I prefer the St. David's flag. That's the one that should be flown. But why can't we fly flags that represent our Christian heritage in some respect? Maybe we need to start adding to the Union Jack, I should say the Union flag. Maybe we should. Yes, yeah, I know. Yeah, maybe we should add a cross onto that, and yeah, other countries do it. Add a symbol of their. You've got the crescent moon on many Islamic nations. Why can't the flags of Islamic nations? Why can't we do it? Come on, change the flag. A new petition. Get that hashtag rolling.
Now, I want to move on slightly because there's recently been a story about the alleged bullying behaviour of our dear monarch. He likes to peruse his copious gardens and talk to the staff and even quiz them on all the plants and flowers and stuff, we're told. How wonderful, you think, until you hear that, allegedly, 11 out of the 12 of his top gardening staff have quit their posts at Highgrove in the last 3 years or so. With Emma Wolfe, a regular on GB News, saying, "The king likes to take his daily walks when he's at Highgrove. He likes to take his daily walkabout and give feedback to the staff. He likes to quiz them. In recent years, things have got very unhappy with the head gardening team at Highgrove. They've lost 11 out of the 12 gardeners, including head gardeners, since March 2022. That is a lot of staff. And, according to the Times, memos fired off by the monarch to correct grammar and demand single flowers be moved are wrecking morale among staff who are paid as little as the minimum wage. And one probationer failed to please the king by not knowing enough about one particular flower, with the king saying, 'Don't put that man in front of me again.' He might have misgendered him, though. You never know, do you? Anyway, and there's a lot more of that there too. And a King's Foundation investigation into all of this said there were staff shortages, poor management practices, and that low pay was a real issue, and they relied almost totally on temporary workers. And they recommended management training, mental health support, counselling, and a pay review. What gets me is that the king presides over a country that lets anyone in with no need to speak the language, let alone integrate, and he expects his staff to use correct grammar. His government is also cracking down on what they see as evil employers who misuse their employees and don't pay them enough, etc., etc., etc. But our dear monarch seems to have missed the memo, despite being the one who reads out the King's speech at the start of a new parliament. But I suppose he's above all of that. If ministers want their royal baubles, that is. Don't forget them.
Yeah.
They don't half have a lot of power in them, those knighthoods, lordships, and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, disgusting. But one point of order here, there, Jeff. I did hear that they may be paying slightly more than minimum wage now, the gardeners at Highgrove. So I don't know. I did.
Ooh.
Yes, I know. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, why do they need all this therapy and stuff? What was all that about? What have they been subjected to there? You know, is he walking along? What's the name of that flower there? Name that one. No,
Yes.
you don't know it. Get him away. Get away. Get him to the get him to the guillotines. Yes.
As
What's that tree
as
there?
Michael
How many leaves does
Gammon
that tree normally produce? You don't know. What do you mean? Get out of my bloody garden.
as Michael Gammon points out, this was the Queen's plan also. Don't be dense, folks. Yeah, it goes back as well to
Oh yeah, yeah.
to those years. So it's all part and parcel of the same thing, isn't it? I think a lot of it is that,
Yeah.
oh, you work for the royal family, you'll do it for almost free, just so you can put it on your CV. I find that putting things on your CV that don't pay doesn't get your bills paid, though. As far as I'm concerned, market forces should let rip. And if no one wants to work there, then no one wants to work there. And they'll just have to put up with, and the monarch will have to put up with whoever he's presented with. And that's the end of it. But yeah. So, yeah. A lot of people are saying this, not my king. Oh, this is
Yeah.
another one. Lucifer is his god, says Pop at Your Records. Yeah.
What's that book by? I can't remember something. I can't remember his name. The Antichrist and a Cup of Tea. That's an interesting read. That is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now here's a little snippet. This Islamic Center that's been around for 40 years, there is a sort of a board of people in it with fellowships and all sorts of things. And one of them, you may remember the name Baroness Hale, who stopped the Queen proroguing Parliament during the Brexit years
Oh
to try and
yes.
chivvy things along, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
And she is now, what is it? The Sultan Aslan Shah Fellow at the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies. And this is about broadening and enriching the teaching of law at Oxford to help promote understanding between different legal traditions and the societies by which they have been nurtured. So I sort of look at that go, yes, does that mean we're going to be binding Sharia into UK law somehow, maybe? Even though that has already started. It's like in the finance world, they've now got Sharia compliant loans so that there's no interest charged. But there is, if you sort of, because what you do is if you want to buy a house today under a Sharia loan, they look at the price that it's likely to be in 20 years' time, and that's the price you buy it at. But you pay it back in installments. So although the bank buys it at today's rate, they're selling it at a 20-year in the future rate, and they're saying that that's not an interest. That's not accumulating. It's not usury.
Yeah.
It seems to be.
Well, Jeff, I have to say, following on from what you're saying, actually, is something in the Telegraph. Once again, in the Telegraph, about because you say about Baroness, whatever her name is. What was it, Dame Baroness? I can't remember.
Hale, yeah,
That's the
Hale,
one.
yeah.
That's the one. Now, what we've
Yeah.
got is a situation where, again, Brexiteers following a very similar path, but another thing linked with Brexit here, unfortunately, is it seems that World Economic Forum rigged data to make Brexit look like failure.
Yes.
This is the
Yes.
Davos conference founder. I wonder who that could be. Intervened to lower UK productivity ranking. I'll read that fully in the style of Klaus Schwab. The World Economic Forum, WEF, has been accused of rigging research to make Brexit look like a failure. Klaus Schwab, the face of Davos conference in Switzerland for years, allegedly intervened in the WEF's annual Global Competitiveness Report, which ranks countries on productivity and long-term prosperity. There you go. They've all got their fingers in the pies. And let's not forget King Charles's association with the WEF. This is the man who virtually, well, I mean, he broke the Great Reset to the world. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. This is our king, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, don't forget the red portrait.
Oh, yes.
That should be in the back of your mind all the time, every time you look in their direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. Referendum on monarchy now, get them out. Trouble is, we'd end up with President Schwab, someone like that.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I don't
always...
care. I don't care. They've got this monarchy are. I'm sorry, they are not representing this nation. They don't have this nation's best interests at heart. Why would you want a king and a monarchy, an entire structure that is there and in place to effectively, from what it appears, to introduce another culture and belief system into this country? Why would you want that? And I'm not criticizing Islam, by the way. No, not at all. All I'm talking about is the way that this country has always been, and its Christian heritage, and that something is sort of interfering with that slightly. And the king is not legitimized by Islam, currently, anyway.
Yeah. One of the sort of questions, and in fact, it came up on a WhatsApp feed I'm on this morning. Someone was asking, how do we legally get rid of this government? Because they're the ones pushing this sort of thing out as well. How do we legally get rid of this government? And I was thinking, actually, there isn't a single other way of getting. The only way you can get rid of a government is through the ballot box. It's meant to be that way, so that there is no other way of getting rid of them. There's no lawfare way of getting rid of them. There's no insurgent way. Every other way of getting rid of them would have to be illegal, other than the ballot box. And so we do have this problem that the only way to get rid of this government legally is through the ballot box. Everything else is deemed illegal. And we have to bear that in mind when we make choices and decisions in the future, because they can use the law definitely then against whoever does it illegally by whatever means. So that seems to be a big question that people keep bringing up. Yeah. What's that you've just put up in our thing, Richard?
Well, Jeff, I was just thinking, you see, what it is, don't put it up just yet.
Oh, right, okay.
What it is, I've been thinking, maybe it is time that I converted, to a different faith, because I did come across this thing on TikTok, or I can't remember if it was on X or TikTok, on this video where it appears that if you convert, you get lots of prizes and presents, and you seem to do, not prizes and presents, you seem to do very well in life. And, it's people like that dreaded Tommy Robinson chap and that awful Paul Golding who are, helping these people to get all their money because they're promoting them. And if you click on the video, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Boys, we've hit the jackpot. Alhamdulillah, look at my new car. Show them my new car, bro. Oh, this is my new Rolls Royce Cullen. Alhamdulillah. We purchased it yesterday. And then one of the boys we've purchased this one over here as well. Lamborghini, bros. This is what happens when you work with Cumdeen with me. Alhamdulillah. I'm going to get candles. Cheers, Tommy Robinson. Cheers, Tommy Robinson, for reposting us. You give us a Lamborghini. Thanks, Paul Golding. Thanks, Paul Golding. I just want to say a big thank you, me and Ben. We want to say a big thank you to Tommy Robinson for all these gifts.
Right. So what you effectively got there is something called rage baiting. Those people are doing that to say, hey, look, we're doing very well. Thank you very much. And this is how well we have done because we converted over to another religion. And maybe that the king would approve of this. That's my thoughts on this matter. Maybe this is the plan to get us out of poverty. But don't get angry when you see that, ladies and gentlemen, because here's the thing. If I could look at that, if I was an impressionable young man, And I would think, oh, you know what? That looks like a good idea. If I go along to do this, I can better myself, and I'll have a lovely car, probably a very nice house, and I'll be accepted within a community and a society, a growing community that I was previously fearful of, but now I can submit and feel peaceful. There's only one problem with all of this: your eternal soul. That would mean me having to abandon Christ and giving up the one most precious thing in the world to me, and that is my salvation through Christ. And that is the same for His Majesty the King. Your Majesty, we're not dealing with perspectives. And I say this in the only way I could possibly, not just criticize Islam, but any other belief system or any other religion. If you walk away from Christ, you are walking away from your eternal salvation. And not just, yes, indeed, Christianity underpins this society. Christianity is what makes Britain what it is. No other religion did that. And the same applies to most of Western Europe. Which religion founded the incredible architecture, was the inspiration for the most amazing architecture in the world has ever seen? I have seen many of the architecture in Islamic countries, and it is beautiful. It really is beautiful. And in many other cultures as well. Okay, it's all there, beautiful architecture. But you compare anything to the cathedrals that were built during the medieval period, nothing compares to it. There we go.
Lucy Elkins says 85 Sharia courts. I didn't know that. I looked into this, and that figure, I think, is something like 4 or 5 years ago. That's what I found. Those reports came out 4 or 5 years ago. I'd have no idea what the number might be today. And I don't know whether you know this cutting.
Yes.
Some religions do. You know what I mean?
Culturally, yes. Yep.
Yes, cultural cutting. We have in the late 1990s, we had our first ever. We've now got over 20 clinics to deal with it.
I think there's more than that. I do believe there may be some in the region of 60, maybe 20 specialized clinics to deal with it.
Yes.
But over 60 cases, I believe. I believe there's over, what was it, 7 or 12 in London alone to deal with women who have been.
Now
that, a terrible way.
And that is all part of enriching our society.
Yes.
I'll leave you to mull that over. And by the way, if you want to check that out, go on the NHS website. It's on the NHS website, and put it in, and you'll find the whole list of the dedicated clinics they've got and where they are. Yeah, it's there. I've seen it myself.
Yeah. Yes, I checked into that as well.
Yeah. So that should make people.
But I mean, this is all practices that I believe our king wants us to become, more welcoming to. And, he is. Oh, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say something I shouldn't say then.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very good point there. By yes, to think kings used to ride into battle for their country. Yeah.
Yes, they used to be there. I mean, they will have had their dedicated guards around them and all the rest of it, just like any other tribe or whatever would have done in the same way. But it's still the fact that they have to get up close and personal because they're the ones in charge. That would be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Hatchie says, "Ain't it nice being a pleb? It's very nice being a pleb. You're just ignorant. You just sit there and do what you're told. Watch the telly."
The thing is, though, the further I don't think not many people realize the seriousness of us walking away from Christianity in this country. There's the Bible, the Old Testament, I should say, is filled with examples of when the Jews walked away from Christianity, when the Jews walked away from God and their faith, they walked into hardship, and so many times they were expelled from their own land in Judea. And yet, here we are. walking straight towards us. And it's there in the Bible. I will restore, God says. I will restore. If they fall on their knees to me, if the people come to me humbly, in sackcloth and ashes, then I will restore. And that's the way we need to do this. We need to be humble. We need to do this on a personal basis. We need to get to church, and I need to get to church a lot more than I currently am as well. And we need to get more involved in our church as well. And that's the important thing. And right now, I'm recommending the Orthodox faith. Sorry, you can all, whichever way gets you to heaven at the end of the day, whatever builds your relationship with Christ and solidifies your moral and your family's moral compass and sets it on the correct course. But yeah, the Orthodox faith, it's not so woke. Well, it's not so woke. It's just not woke. You don't find all the multicolored flags inside the Orthodox Church. And I have some respect as well for certain elements within the Catholic Church, although there's some things which make me balk, and other faiths as well. I was considering becoming a Catholic myself quite recently, but no, Orthodox.
Yeah.
There we
I mean,
go.
I'm Orthodox.
Yeah.
Been recently baptized. Very proud of it too. And
beautiful day.
lot of people you could never wish to meet. They are wonderful, and they really open and sharing and all the rest of it. Some of it may look a bit. You sort of think, oh, that looks, lots of candles and icons. Oh, it looks a bit foreign. But once you get in there and you talk to people, suddenly you find out that it's a very wonderful place to be. Anyway,
it's not foreign at all. It's actually part of the heritage. It's how every church in this country would have been prior to the Great Schism. In the 10th century, I think.
Yeah, that's
but here's the important thing as well, though, Jeff, is that people forget that there was a point in time, because I remember the classical composer John Tavener, and he used to, because he knew King Charles, and he used to speak that at one point in time he had a very fondness and a great fondness and a soft spot for the Orthodox faith. But it appears he may have clearly, veered away from that. Yes. Very, very worrying.
Yeah, because the Orthodox faith is based on the original, the passed down from the apostles, how you should do these things, how you should conduct your ceremonies, and all the rest of it. And there's someone pointed out, but they had to modernize earlier this century or last century, because they used to say that put blessings on those who please keep our travelers who travel by sea and land and look after them. They had to add "and air" in there.
Yes.
So that was a major change.
One here from Mags says, sorry, but your denomination is yours. Mine will always be Church of Scotland. Thanks. Good on you, Mags. To be honest with you, whichever way you get to Christ, get there. The only reason I mention the Orthodox faith as a preference is a lot of people will get put off when they go into other more established sort of Anglican-based churches and some Catholic churches by the sort of woke infestation that's happened. But Mags, you're absolutely right. God bless you. And any other, if you're Pentecostal, whatever you are, whatever gets you closer to God, that's the most important thing.
And another thing, lest we all forget, was back in November 2017. Prince Charles, this is from The Independent. Prince Charles has come under fire after it came to light that he blamed the influx of foreign Jews for causing unrest in the Middle East and called on the US to take on the Jewish lobby in a letter penned in 1986. So he wrote that letter in 1986, telling the Americans basically to sort out the Jewish lobby. Because he was writing to a friend of his, Laurent van der Post, and he argued that the exodus of European Jews in the middle of the last century helped to cause the great problems in the Middle East. Now, why would a group of people turning up cause all of that when they had the land given to them by the League of Nations? Yeah, and it was mostly empty at the time anyway. So he sent that letter, and it didn't come out for a long time. Yes. And here's one of the lines he used. I know there are so many complex issues, but how can there ever be an end to terrorism unless the causes are eliminated? I wonder what he meant by that.
Mm.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting where did we go to? Oh, this is thank you for that, Michael. I haven't. And thank you, Nomad, who says, how did these converted guys get convinced that Mohammed split the moon and flew on a donkey? Oh, yeah, I've heard about this. Let
Well,
alone
maybe
other.
he did. Maybe he did. Let's give benefit of the doubt on that one, Jeff. We're not going to criticize. We're not going to say anything bad. Maybe he did. I don't know. But,
Yes, Richard. Yes, definitely. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are saying what Sue Shrubsole was saying. I was a proud monarchist. I wouldn't spit on our current king or government. Yeah, I get that sentiment. So, yeah, isn't it just in a position where the establishment as such, which goes right from the top down to your local councils and all the rest of it, just seems to be operating against the people that live here and built lives and families and down the generations. They're not wanted anymore by these people. In fact, they're being sort of targeted to get rid of, to be pushed back in favor of other people. Instead of telling us to have families and giving us the ability to live proper family human lives, humans have families. When you have loads and loads of people in this country not having children, that means we're not living in a sort of a proper human type family orientated nation. That's how I look at it. And we should be going back to those sorts of things. I'm not talking about going back to Victorian ages or anything like that. Let's just go back to when people wanted to have children. They wanted to bring up a family. They wanted to think about the future of the country. Having children is investing in the future of the country. If you can't be bothered to do that, then maybe we deserve to be thrown out. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we've gone past it all. We no longer worth or no longer valued because we don't invest in the future. Most of us are now taught how to invest in now, this minute, here, now, me, and that's all we're interested in. And that's how politics is rewarding us by just saying, well, here's your money today, and we'll sort it out tomorrow. And when it all falls apart, it falls apart. We're not going to invest in the future. Why bother? No one's interested. So yeah, we should be taking a lot more time of looking into the future, having children in this country, bringing them up to love the country, love the people around them, and and this is important, be prepared if they have to defend the good of this country. There is nothing. I don't think there's anything Christian in just giving up and giving in and going and just giving up and letting it all disappear. Christianity isn't here to be disappeared, as far as I'm concerned. That's part of it. Anyway.
Well, there is a school of thought that says we are living in a post-Christian society, but there's another school of thought which says maybe we're living in a pre-Christian society, that we've never really truly lived as a Christian society. So I don't know, Jeff. There is still hope, but when you read the Times, when you read the papers, and you take a look at some of the things that were said, in particular towards the end of the Bible, and you're going, these things seem to be tallying up quite well. That's rather worrying. Or maybe not if you're a Christian, but yeah.
Left Wing King says, I'll leave the UK when Europeans leave Australia, the US and South Africa. Until then, stop pretending your empire was a public service. Well, I'm wondering if why you're saying you'll leave. What I'm not sure of your history. Did you come here for a better life, safety, or were you born here? I don't understand why. If you were born here, why would you want to leave anyway? I mean, it's So, but if you came here for safety or for make a better life, then you come here for safety or to make a better life, and obviously you won't leave because we've been successful in doing that. Yeah, I don't know what to make of some things.
Well, I do know
Fairy
one thing.
tales, all of them. Fairy tale, I just totally disagree. I just
Yeah,
walk out
yeah.
the door, I look up, and look round me, and I think, yeah, tell me that was a big bang accident from nothing. No, not at all. No, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, is this Jan or John? Jan White? Jeff Richard set up an organization to remove royals. I don't think we need to. I think they're doing a splendid job of it themselves, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Earth Mother says, I go to church now and it's getting more newcomers as well. Yeah, I talk to people who've been in the church I go to for many years, and they're saying they're seeing a lot more people coming in and a lot more Brits coming in because when it was first set up, that particular Orthodox church took in a lot of, there were a lot of people who were church goers came to this country who sort of congregated round that church. But now it's spreading out and more Brits are turning up and joining. So yeah, I believe that we are going through a period. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there is a period indeed of revival taking place in many churches across this country, and it needs to be celebrated. It is a wonderful thing that is taking place. And you see, it's one thing to be. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care about your biological background. It means nothing. It's irrelevant. Multiculturalism is totally different to multi-ethnicity entirely. I don't care
Mm.
what you are. If you walk into that church, that's exactly the same point as I was making. You see, Jeff, when I was talking about you've got Russians and Ukrainians who are there inside Orthodox churches, and whilst they're in there, they are there as one body of Christ heading towards heaven, effectively in this spaceship that is the Orthodox Church, heading straight towards there. That's the kind of thing. Crap analogy, excuse me, but
Yeah.
but people, they are brought together. This is unifying. It is not divisive. And when I look across the Middle East and many other nations, I don't see that level of unity. I see oppression, especially in Iran, where I can't remember the name of the chap who was in that interview with Liam Tufts. He said that 60% of Iranians are not Muslim, for instance. Now, I've spoken to relatives who've had access to certain data saying it's much higher than that, and that they feel very oppressed. And the fastest growing church in the world is inside Iran.
Yeah.
Iran isn't our enemy. It's whatever is.
No.
It's the complete oppression of that country that is the enemy.
The
That is the
Ayatollahs.
problem. Yes. You have a nation imprisoned, and I have a funny feeling Iran could have a big turnaround, a really big turnaround, and the fortunes of Iran could go for the better as soon as they are rid of the
The
oppressive regime.
fundamentalist Ayatollahs.
Yeah, the oppressive
Now,
regime.
Pastor Ali says, I just tried to send a pretty long comment fully in support of you and your colleague and expanding on what you were saying. Amazingly, for some reason, it wouldn't go through. It's nothing to do with us. It
Sorry,
might
Pastor
be the
Ali, on that one.
length. It might just be the length of the comment. So, yeah.
Yes.
So nothing to do with us. But thank you very much for
Yes, thank
wanting
you.
to comment and support us. Sorry, I've lost my other train of thought that I had.
Oh dear.
But, that's normal for me at my age,
Oh,
you know.
ladies and gentlemen, there was a major panic before we went live today. That Jeff,
Shut up. Shut up
Jeff,
or I'll silence you.
he had no sound. He had no sound, and we couldn't figure it out. I'm convinced he was trying to. It was like that. I'm convinced he was trying to power the camera and the microphones with steam. I don't know. It just wasn't working anyway.
Yes. And do you know what? Being so technically able as I am, I found the cure immediately. It's called the ON/OFF switch and reset. Has anyone else done that?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh, yeah. There's lots and lots of comments here. I just can't read them all. I just have to flick through and see if anything.
Well, the thing is, Jeff. What I mean, if we are just reading, I've read through many of the comments here, and the one thing that just comes up is that most people are not supporting this king, and you have to remember that most of the demographic of the people watching our videos are centered right to right wing, whatever that means. But normally they would be incredibly supportive of the monarchy. That comment just then, Diana was right to divorce.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. She was frightened she was going to get bumped off by her husband's family. And funny enough, she got
by a car accident.
Yeah, yes,
she wrote that, didn't she?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she was bumped off by her husband's family. No. But
I'm doubtful about this particular comment from Precious Quinty de Vere. The sooner William is king, the better. I think he's even worse than Charles, to be honest. I just.
Well, he's not Christian. He said that in his coronation, he didn't want the church involved or Christianity involved. Well, in that case, William, you can't be king.
Who's going to crown him legitimately? No one.
Yes, no, exactly. And at that point, I mean, don't forget everything. As soon as that monarchy goes, as soon as the monarchy fails in that respect, if they really do fail, then our actual currency fails. That's the other side of it. Whose head is on each note and coin in this country that legitimizes it? And you might think that doesn't apply to digital currency. Well, I'm afraid it does. It is, it's all part of the same system. The Royal Mint is not called that for no reason. And the Royal Mint, no, it isn't a type of, it's something that grows in the garden in Highgrove. Picture of that over there. What's your name? You over there. I've forgotten your name. Anyway, whoever you are, get someone to replace him. He didn't know what the mint was. Yes, sorry.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, someone says he's the king of woke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting. Will reform end the monarchy? Now, there's a good one. No, I don't think so.
No chance.
Has Nigel Farage become a sir yet?
No. No. Well, Jeff,
is he in the House of Lords yet?
I think we've covered most of this today now.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
To be honest with you, it's a very sad situation where the king of this country does appear to be favoring and choosing to prioritize one faith above the others, and especially above the faith that legitimizes him and underpins this country, and the one faith that will stop you going to a very nasty place after you leave this world. So there we go. Anyway, so thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Please do press the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel. And when subscribing, press the all option. And that way, Jeff will start glowing and become happy. He starts radiating love and enlightenment. And, he becomes a fountain of all knowledge. Then he does, indeed. So, yes, please do that. And if you really love what we do here on this channel, become a member. Now, you can become a member on an Android phone. Apparently, you can't on an iOS device, but you can on laptops and desktop computers. But for some reason, there's a conspiracy, we believe, against us, preventing people from seeing the members button or join button, whatever it is. And so if you can do that, you get a little bit of extra content every month for the price of a pint of beer in a London pub. Jeff.
Well, thanks very much, everyone, for watching, and I'm glad you've been able to join us for this little session. I just hate bringing this sort of thing to you because it's just another nail in our coffin, isn't it? And we have fewer and fewer places to turn to bind ourselves together to our history, to our heritage, and all the rest of it. And I just. The plans that they have for us are not for us. They are against us. And we got to remember that. And vote them out to start with at every opportunity. Pick someone that you really believe in there. Have a read of what they do. If you can, talk to them somehow or other and see what sort of response you get back. But don't vote for the normal ones because they'll just keep this going. Anyway,
Yeah,
on
give up
that
on the
note,
Uniparty, ladies and gentlemen.
yes,
Don't look at those. And we've got a few years left to decide who to vote for.
yeah.
There we
And
go.
on that note, I'll say it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Goodbye.
Good.